Here comes the Nastygram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram RPG podcast. This is Empire's End.
Hi, this is Dean. I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Victor Argus, Operations Officer or Ops.
Hey, I'm John, and I play Lieutenant Commander Koro Randar, callsign Metalhead, Commander of the Air Group or CAG.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt. I play Gaius Loctus Vilfug, and I am the Medical and Personnel Officer, or MED.
Hey everyone, this is Dan. I play Lieutenant Junior Grade Nero Orn, Communications and Intelligence Officer, or COIN.
And I'm Josh, and I'll be your GM. This is episode 21, Chain of Command.
All these hungry, angry mouths forgiven.
Officer's Log, Argus Victor Commander, Reiko Station, Designation 0 X-Ray 77 Delta. Security Lockout 1277, X-Ray Delta Whiskey, Voice Authorization Argus Victor. Comforce Brass has decided to promote Thorn. Truth be told, it's not much of a promotion, but it will give him a confidence boost. That's sure to make him more insistent with his pro-imperial rhetoric. His dogmatic devotion to the ERC looks to become more troubling as we find ourselves stuck between Jabuic Sector Command and Arif Sector Command. If he continues to stick his nose where it doesn't belong, he may get it cut off. We've also learned that we have a Kriva on board, an expert in security. With his biological advantage, he can blend into the crew. He will be very difficult to find, but it must become a top priority. The doctor suggested that Kriva cannot alter the DNA, which will help us find out who is not a Kriva. We will have to mask this DNA testing as protection against the parasite. I don't want the word spy to gain too much traction on the station, or there will be a witch hunt. The doctor has also told me that Evis and Slimu will likely be out a month, with Herlick being good to go in a few days. We're going to need every competent officer and crew member we can muster, because in 12 days, things are going to get very interesting in the Vierax System. That's when our new commander arrives from Arif Sector Command. That's when we are supposed to give up the DX-77th. That's when Thorn will get his resources, and that's when counterinsurgency will begin on the surface below. The Empire's proficiency at counterinsurgency operations is not good, depending on who you ask. Typically, they just destroy the entire planet or subjugate it. Either way, it will destroy the relations with the nucleary and all the work we've done. The Empire prefers to do its surgery with a hammer, which brings us to Hethna. We now have to make a decision on Hethna's fate. I think Hethna is a danger to Reiko Station. He is wasteful and aloof. He jeopardizes all our lives. Although he may grasp the seriousness of the situation here, he has not the will to move on addressing it. He'd rather gallivant with high society on the planet below. His chance of surviving this surgery is 10%. If he died, it would be good for us. I could maintain my command. At least the men and women here know that I'm looking out for them. To my surprise, Randar is pro-surgery. The XO, such an interesting man. Imagine my surprise when he suggested the surgery. Because of the possibility of infection. He doesn't like waste, Randar, which is a good thing. A recent order to execute the rebel pilots, the possibility of station infection as the slug reaches end of life, and senseless killing, which no doubt will occur with counterinsurgency operations planetside. But his code seems to be holding him back from fully tossing in with Jabuic. There's an interesting duality to the man. But fortunately, I think we may get him to agree to an information leak. Something that could prevent the Arif convoy from ever reaching Reiko safely. A small information leak. Something Orn is duly cut out for. And something that, considering we have a spy on board, could easily be explained away. All the pieces seem to be falling into place. Jabuic and Admiral Rorvat is the only answer, and the crew will have to be convinced of that. This concludes Officer's Log, Argus Victor, Commander Reiko Station.
And there we are. An old friend. An old friend coming back.
Coming by to say hi.
Coming back 20 episodes ago. I'm sure every listener knew exactly who we meant when we said Commander Azilla. You know,
She wasn't a huge fan of mine, if I remember correctly.
She was not.
Not much.
But yes, we left off after a rather, I don't want to say traitorous, but rather
Interesting.
interesting
Introspective. We're just working,
Intriguing.
brainstorming.
Yeah, we're putting stuff on the wall and
Yeah,
seeing
right.
what sticks. You know?
an interesting brainstorming session in the
Interesting force storming.
Victor's dream board. You know,
after the meeting let out.
There's a holocron and a lightsaber at the end of it.
It's Argus Skywalker.
Yuck.
And the SS Darkstar arrived, and on board, the captain, the commander of the Darkstar, Commander Yura Azilla. And we last heard from her in the first episode. She was the outgoing XO, had one interaction on screen with Argus, but extensive background. She had been the XO for the whole founding and setup of Reiko. So you are all intimately familiar with her. Obviously, as players and as the audience, you might not be. She is a tough but highly competent officer who was hand-selected to take command of the yet-to-be-commissioned SS Darkstar. And this 200-meter light cruiser has just entered the Vierax system, and you are all in the CIC hearing her voice. Well, the Reiko Actual, if you would permit me, permission to come aboard?
Granted, of course, Commander.
I will be aboard by shuttle within the hour.
Very well. I look to whatever
Tom clicks off.
junior officer I can, and I tell them to prepare a spot for her.
Yes, sir. Then Vraylin nods and starts, calling out to the different deck sections.
Well, that was unexpected. But a friend for sure. I'm going to go down to the landing bay and meet her, of course.
Okay.
And as we're walking, was she assigned to Jubu sector?
Yes. I'm not sure. She was assigned to the Dark Star. I'm not sure where they were going to send her. They must have kept her here. Or sent her there, rather.
Well, since she showed up and didn't send word ahead of time, I assume this is an offering.
I'm sure it is. Probably good news for our Arif problem.
Josh, what's the ETA on my meeting?
It's still mid-afternoon, so
Okay. I've got time.
hours away.
Yep.
Are all four of you going down to the landing bay?
I think the XO and the CO is appropriate.
Okay.
Nobody else.
Okay.
I go and look for Wilfug.
All right.
These guys are going to want to tidy up their shit.
Doc, where can Ten Orn find you?
I would have gone back to Medbay to talk with Harper about a game plan on how to cut this thing out of Hathana's head.
All right. You're in Medbay as Orn arrives. Harper's talking to you and she says, so, sir, the pattern that you indicated, that you pointed out to me, I think it is increasing. And I've done some calculations, and I mean, there's a lot of estimation here, sir, but I don't think we have more than a few days to take action before this thing takes its own action. If it is reproduction, as you hypothesized,
Hypothesize?
as you
Theorized is good.
theorized.
As you think about.
That you was considering and whatnot.
In your brain,
You were bellying about up in your fucking...
Lieutenant, are you okay? Could you be infected as well?
Oh no, she has a slug.
fucking hypos are...
Sorry, sir. I've some long days while you were gone.
I understand. And actually, I think Nero here can help us out with something as well. Can I help you?
You see the familiar look, Dan, of distrust
Yep.
in Lieutenant Harper's eyes. You remember her having a strange read on you the last
I do.
time you were spending some time up in Medbay.
Yep. I kind of nod politely to her.
Well, as we were discussing, if I know you were going to talk to the CO about it, but this is certainly not an ideal. Well, this isn't a surgery suite, nothing of that magnitude, but Dean, you okay
all
over
the
there?
bad guys in the movie, all the good guys in the movie, the NPCs. Like, if you watch this movie, you're like, I hope Harper makes it because these guys are fucking evil. That's what it is.
Season
Every
2 of Empire's
fucking one
End is going to be all the nice guys.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus fuck. I just imagine that movie scene like, oh, this poor girl, she's in deep shit with these guys.
She kind of glances nervously towards you, Doc.
What can I help you with, Owen?
I was actually hoping to speak to you about a personal matter.
Harper takes the opportunity to nod and step away.
Harper, begin drawing up a game plan. Plan for surgery in 24 hours.
Yes, sir. I'll get ready.
Good. Thank you.
Do you head to your office?
Yeah.
Okay. We walk in, and as the door closes behind me, I kind of start walking around the perimeter of your room with my data pad, scanning for any listening devices.
Oh, wait.
Should I roll, Josh?
Yeah, give me a security roll.
Security. I upped my security.
Just got to let you guys roll every once in a while.
Oh, my Lord.
Wow, holy shit.
Whoa, dude.
22, 27,
Holy
30.
fuck.
35.
Okay, you are very
You
confident.
find Hoffa.
What was that? 35?
35.
All right. You're confident that there is no listening devices, nothing like that. You actually think you're kind of filtering through some scans, filtering out, just you're on a space station. There's
Sure.
all sorts of broadcasts and
chatter.
things like that. You get a feeling that there might be some level of radio waves that are passively active close by. You don't think they're electronic in nature.
Interesting.
And your mind jumps back to the organism's reaction to your tests.
Right. So most likely not the organism producing any sort of radio waves, but someone trying to affect the organism.
No, possibly the organism itself.
Okay. It is that. Interesting. You see Orn, he sweeps, he goes around the whole perimeter of the room with his data pad, and he's using, another device that kind of scans the area that he sweeps his hand over. And then he stops, and he doesn't have that device up against the wall or looking at anything, but he's just staring at his data pad for, 20 seconds, and then closes his data pad and looks up at you.
What is
I
it?
believe we are alone. There are a few things I'd like to discuss with you, Doctor. First, if I am to guess as to the reasons you would like to speak to, I wanted to call you Vargas. If I were to guess as to the reasons that you want to speak to Argus, it's concerning the Exo's health. CO's health.
It is.
I want you to know, Doctor, I turned the frequency down to keep things as they were. Do you understand?
I understand.
Nero nods.
Do you understand how the body functions?
I do.
You understood how those were affecting him prior to us ever turning it on? You were able to read the scans as they were being put out as to how his body was reacting to it? So you're not only a communications expert, but you could also take my job as well, is what you're telling me.
Character point for air of superiority. We haven't hit that flaw
Love it.
for a little bit.
Shroud
That's
down.
for you, Matt.
What I do know, Dr. Wilfug,
Speaking of,
is that if the man were awake, it would be better that he was asleep.
And what I know
You're-
is that you've been off lately, Orn. And I know that I'm partly to blame for that. I accept it. But you need to know. If I notice, others do as well.
Nero kind of nods smartly. Fine.
Now, if I can assume why you're here, you need some more, don't you?
He shrugs
powerful Wilfuck.
and sets an empty bottle on your desk.
30 days?
It's prescriptive, so it's not a problem, right?
Something else you should know. Your guest. He points in the direction of the CO and the passenger inside. It has something to say.
I figured as much. And hit a button on his desk and a screen pops up. Do you see that on the brainstem? That's
Nero
our
nods.
friend. You see where it connects?
I do.
It's the cerebellum. Motor function. Now, do you see what you don't see on the other side? Leads into the temporal lobe, possibly the occipital lobe. This thing has the capabilities to possibly take over and utilize all of the commander's senses.
He is a listening device.
If what the doctor's saying is true, thinking back to your tests, if someone were able to have much more precise control, you have no idea what level of precision that could lead to.
They could in like essentially use someone as a bug. Maybe.
Or more.
Or more.
They could have been planning on
Straight up
releasing
Manchurian.
him back,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
everything's hunky dory. But then he can.
Yeah, it may not have even been well. Yeah, obviously it can. If it can control his motor functions, there might be some way or fashion that they can control that. But on the more passive side, which is probably the more concerning, is that theoretically, if they could hear through him,
Yeah,
they.
and it's just someone on the station. They have that shortwave.
Yep.
Also, Matt, have you been reading fucking medical journals?
Yeah,
impressed.
mildly. I actually,
That's awesome.
Take another fucking
Very
character.
cool.
Yeah.
God damn.
Can I just throw a quick thing? I know this table talk isn't what we love, but I mean, it can control his it can control his brain in toto, which means he can also receive signals. So somebody can have a little remote control heft on their hands.
Yeah, and do what they have to
and
do
whatever
on the
they
station.
take anything over.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
right guy with the right equipment could just create a fucking human robot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That is a danger.
Hey, airlock.
now,
So you were explaining that, Matt. Go ahead.
yeah. Now, in order for me to remove him, I'm going to need your help again.
Nero nods. Anything, doctor.
I'll help
Anything
you
at
with
all.
your, and he'll tap the bottle, your device. I'll need it again. But I
Very
think it would
good.
be also useful if you found a way that you could perhaps track something like this. It might help us with our Piscard problem.
Nero actually, you don't often, the general kind of energy that comes out of Nero is very stagnant. He's often just kind of in the room listening. And it's very easy to kind of forget about him at times. But when you actually pose the question, he actually seems a bit more animated. It like that he's genuinely interested in the task. He nods, and he's kind of he's looking down, kind of in that way that people look down when they're thinking about something. And he nods again and says, "I will work on it, doctor."
Excellent. And I'll keep this between you and me.
Certainly. I appreciate your discretion. And I hope the surgery goes well. Doctor.
I do as well. I just not sure which way I want it to go yet.
And we cut.
Can I just say for the record, Matt, that was amazing. That was amazing shit out of Wolfug. Dan, you do something that I love. It's very narrative. You're very good at describing what your character's doing and or maybe considering almost as if it's a narrative we could read. And I just think that's just good shit.
Yeah,
That was good. That was a good scene, man.
Thanks.
That was cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, Dan, why don't you grab a character point there
Sweet.
too?
Meanwhile, the X-Zone and Sea are going to get reamed.
Meanwhile, you're at the landing bay, and you hear the sound of the escorting TIE interceptors break away, fly over the station, sound through space, and the outer airlock opens, and a Lambda shuttle comes in, its wings folded up,
A nice, shiny, unscratched one.
an uncrashed
Lands
one.
right next to our heap of shit.
Us two fall on the floor and convulse from fucking PTSD shit.
It lands, the ramp lowers,
Smoke billows out.
and about a half squad of Imperial Marines come down, followed by Commander Ira Azilla. I don't know. I don't think I casted her originally, but you,
said
can
era?
Lyra Azilla, and I may say that differently at times, but it's
It's
Lyra
fine.
Azilla, Commander Azilla.
Lyra.
You can picture her as a younger, maybe early 40s Helen Mirren. Of course, Helen Mirren can look quite glamorous, but imagine her in a more severe look. You know, if she was trying to dress down in a professional way. She strides off smoothly and confidently, and comes right over and stops before you.
Randar snaps to attention.
So
and
do I.
salutes.
She salutes back, says, "Gentlemen,
Good to see you again, Commander.
it's good to see you both."
I'm not sure if you've read the reports. My acting XO, of course, you know very well.
I do. Perhaps we can go somewhere and speak.
Indeed. There's a spot prepared for you.
She nods. She
I look-
nods to
I-
her security detachment, and they stay at the shuttle.
Okay. We walk down the hall, and I'm assuming our information of which we've shared is relatively public, although maybe Jibog knows less if we don't really report to them.
They shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I don't really say much. I just ask her, how are things in the Jibug sector?
Busy.
Hmm.
Quite busy, Victor.
Indeed.
She's never one in general for small talk.
Mhm.
And aside from any kind of prompting questions, you walk silently through the halls.
Yep.
And where do you go?
I bring her to the room that was prepared for her.
Okay. Like a quarters?
Yeah. I'm assuming she's got some lackeys carrying some of her shit, or
She doesn't.
oh, she doesn't.
She has nothing on her.
Oh,
Um,
I thought you'd be comfortable here.
she says, "We can speak here. I won't be staying long."
Ah, very well.
She steps inside.
I step inside, shut the door with him.
Assume we don't have to worry about listening devices,
You're correct.
but I'm always one of caution. She takes out and sets down a little device, opens it up. You recognize it as a
Like a jammer.
short range jammer.
Cool.
You hear kind of like a hum, kind of like a white noise, and then fades away. She says, "Gentlemen, I will cut to the chase. I have been sent, at my request, as part of the shakedown cruise of the Dark Star, here, as a messenger of sorts for Admiral Rorvat. We have received, indirectly, of course, full reports on what's been occurring here in the Vierax sector. And from those reports, I'm not sure how much information you have been receiving from outside. What do you know about the state of the galaxy?"
We understand that we lost the Battle of Endor, to put it bluntly.
That is a tip of the iceberg of what we've lost.
And then we also understand that there are many power vacuums occurring. Lots of orders that were difficult to verify.
Yes. Hundreds of systems have gone to the rebels. Hundreds, gentlemen. The Emperor's ruling council have merely tightened their grip on the core worlds. And with every squeeze, valuable systems, nearly entire sectors, are slipping away. And they are losing. They are losing our empire. And Admiral Rorvat and others are not going to let that happen. We can speak plainly. The Empire's ruling council, they're lackeys. They're sycophants. They're in their positions because they sucked up the best, the most efficiently to the Emperor. They have their personal citadels, and that is what they are protecting. And meanwhile, we are losing this war because of a single battle.
That these ERC types, no doubt, were the operational commanders for.
Yes. Unfortunately, not enough of them were there to bear the price. But they're reaping what they're sowing.
Is this par for the course out of this woman, having worked closely with her for a long time? Well, 6 months.
She is, you always considered her highly loyal to the Empire.
Okay.
And
Maybe she still is in her own way.
she seems to be genuine.
She's got a principle here.
She
Okay.
is a woman of principle. And you believe completely, you kind of question your perception of, this coup attempt. And
Of course.
maybe not that it's wrong, but that there are definitely different perspectives.
Good people on both sides.
A lot of good people on both
A lot of
sides.
bad people on both sides.
No shit.
So
Now you're talking.
Admiral Rorvat is not alone.
Hmm.
We're on the precipice of uniting nearly a dozen sectors under true Imperial control.
Argus does the math. We've lost hundreds. She's got a dozen, leaving how many for ERC loyalists?
There's, I might
I know
have
you
flipped
might not
between
know, but-
systems and sectors too.
Okay.
She says it's far too soon to see where the chips are falling, but they are falling, and we are here to see where your chip will fall.
I see. I'll be completely frank with you, if I may. My interest is in ensuring that the loyal men and women who have been understaffed, outgunned, and severely ignored for months on end get some sort of respite in the end. We've faced, as you are no doubt aware, many problems here. We have a lot of issues with the NCC, with the Free Clary Front, with the Black Jesters, with rebels. We're losing our commander when being shot at, blown up, etc. Obviously, I care about the fate of the Empire as much as anyone who has devoted their life to it. But I am very concerned with the lives of these people around me now and doing what is right for them now. Running out of the way back world, as you know, you served here. You know how we are seen. So let me first thank you for coming here personally. It means a lot to me. It shows that you value the time we work together, and I understand that this is not emotional for you, and I respect that as well. But I'm interested in keeping the men and women under my command safe and effective.
Do you know what first brought your name to the attention of Admiral Rorvat?
I do not.
It wasn't me. I am merely a commander. I was called because I came from here. He already had his eye on this. He's been receiving many reports. What immediately drew his eye to you individually in your reports is how one of your main points of pride was how you had not lost a man on any of these missions. Admiral Rorvat knows that this is a different war, that this empire, if it will be sustained, cannot fight it in the way that it had been being fought. That what we have, the lives that we have under our command, are not to be thrown away.
Randar nods subconsciously to that.
Admiral Rorvat did not always play the game of politics right. That's why he's in command of Jibborg Sector when he clearly should be a Grand Admiral. As anyone who knows his reputation. And he's a pragmatic man as well. There is value here in this Vierax sector. There's value in the resources.
And more than you know.
Interesting. I will not be coy. The Empire's ruling council, they do control some of the richest, most industrialized, and resource-rich sectors and systems in the galaxy. To them, maybe they can turn a blind eye to Vierax. But to us, we cannot. I don't offer you an easy way out. I offer you what I've come to realize is the right way.
What is your plan for the rest of the sector, the RF sector? If they don't fall in line with Vorvac?
Admiral Rorvat's orders are strict on this matter. There will be no offensive operations towards any Imperial forces, regardless of their designation. We are going to maintain that for as long as possible. We are not here to start another war. There have been times when conflict has occurred, I will not lie. But it is not as our choosing. We are hoping to gather strength and project it in the right areas.
Commander, Arif is sending people here to take away our resources, to replace me, to give more power to Compnor. Their mind is not in the right place on this. They're still clinging to very old and antiquated ways. I respect your decision to not want to throw men away. Doesn't make any sense. We could learn something from these rebels, couldn't we?
That is what Admiral Rorvat frequently mentions.
I bet we would get along nicely.
Oh, man.
She says, I will answer whatever.
It's literally in my background on a character sheet.
Ideal, overhaul Imperial Command ideology. Lieutenant Commander Victor Argus.
Okay.
She says,
Tell me the offer, Commander.
she reaches into her breast pocket and pulls out a letter, hands it to you.
Thank you.
Open it. It's a commission.
She told me to open it.
Yes.
Oh, I open it.
It's a commission. It's written exactly as the commission you took when you first took your oath.
Right, because he's an admiral and he can do that.
To Commander, full Commander, Victor Argus.
Commander
And it's
Sith
essentially,
Argus.
Stop it.
and it's still
I'd
refers
like to
to
thank
it.
none of you.
Still refers to it as a commission in the Galactic Empire.
Reporting to the Jubuak sector.
Correct. She says, I will answer whatever questions you have to the best of my ability. We will assist as best as we can in whatever decision you make. We will not force the issue.
I see.
We will not force it internally. And the Admiral needs this to come from inside. There are resources we can and will provide at the time when you do take this commission. And Vierax is under command through the Jebuik sector.
Is he planning to reassign me away from here?
Absolutely not. I assured him that you were the right man for the job here.
I see.
And additional resources will be provided at that time, along with engineering resources to increase the resource extraction currently being developed by Kuiper Corporation, which is, of course, another sticking point, as you clearly know Kuiper's loyalties.
One final question. There are those among us who may not agree with this change of the command structure. What would you propose I do with them?
That is not my decision to make.
Kill Thorn.
If you are referring to any particular sectors, or if you're referring to any particular organizations, Compnor has been disbanded in the Jebuik sector.
Very well, I accept. I reach my hand out to shake her hand.
I look at Randar, like looks over at Victor.
Do you really?
Yes.
After long consideration with your crew?
Goodness. Oh God.
Victor,
Amazing.
I stop and look over at Randar for a minute. Does his face say it all?
it's like,
Okay, I say, give me time with my senior staff. 1 hour should suffice.
Of course. Any further questions?
If we have them, we know where to find you.
Very well. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.
She
These look great on you. I don't touch her. I touch like the indicate the
chiclets.
insignia.
she reaches into her other pocket and she holds out a pair of commander's insignia.
Mm.
And these will look great on you, Victor.
Indeed. Yes.
God damn.
I'm fucking this chick.
Angriest sex.
We wouldn't even get our clothes off. Okay.
And she turns and walks smartly out. She
You
says,
just surrendered me? Very well, I accept.
she kind of turns and gives a half smile and says, I know my way. And she exits.
That easily, Victor.
Well, let's talk with the people we can trust.
Yes.
See what we should do. This feels like a solution to most of our problems, even though we are going to invite some more new ones.
The problem is, they'll promise us the world.
You know the commander.
Yep.
She was good. She
She
was
was.
difficult, but she looked out for us.
But she's under orders.
Yes, aren't we all?
It's not up to her on how we get reeled in.
Randar,
If we're gonna turn our nose up at the Arif sector, Jubuik would be a good ally.
Yeah.
thinking tactically, Randar, you do immediately consider that would make you the front line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If things got out of hand.
Okay.
So you guys been watching the news about Crimea and Ukraine?
Oh, no.
Danzig,
We are not Russian. What are you talking about?
Danzig was always ours.
All right. Do you should we do a screen wipe and reconvene?
Screen wipe us right into the PCs discussing what we should do.
Okay. You tell me where you are and who is there.
This one's going to be a bit different. We're going to do this during like our Delta Watch night, bitter watches of the night assembled in Argus's quarters.
All right. Before or after 2200?
What's 2200 again?
You don't
That's
know. But Lieutenant Nero has a meeting
Man.
at that point.
No.
So I guess,
Or do we
kind of
do
don't
it?
worry too much
the
about the
meta-
exact
the meta
timelines,
game would be
but in
after.
terms of meta.
Meta means after because I want to know if he's going to say anything about it.
Okay.
So yeah, why don't we give him a shot to do that
All right.
role playing incident? And then
We'll fudge the timeline a little bit, and we'll say, this all occurs, and you're in the process of convening, and Nero, you have an appointment.
Hot date.
I'm just going to think let me think. So what I'm considering right now is whether or not I wanted to speak with Argus before this or not.
ooh,
Think about that for a moment.
Okay.
In the meantime, Matt, you are working with Lieutenant Harper up in Med Lab to prep your damaged surgical or damaged med bay for high-level experimental brain surgery. She's nervous. You can tell. She's nervous about the procedure. And more than that, she has a feeling. You know she is loyal to you, but you get the feeling that she's not exactly sure what she's getting involved in.
Fair.
And
it's going to be a shame to strangle her to death.
she's being as attentive to her duties as possible, but you can kind of just feel the anxiety breeding off her.
That's rough.
As you watch her kind of move through the med bay. And she says, "Well, I think that's about all I can do for tonight, sir, and I think we have this slated for 1000 hours tomorrow. Anything further, sir?"
No, Harper, you've Done a marvelous job. These are trying times, and we are all... I am exhausted. I know you are as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. She starts to walk out, and you see her pause in the door and half turn and then walk out.
I thought for sure when you're like, you've done a marvelous job, that's when you take the scalpel and slit her throat, and that's it.
And she exits. All right, Dan, what do you think? Is Orn
is going to track down Argus.
okay?
He's in his quarters, listening to some sort of Baroque style music.
Beep-loop-loop.
We haven't done that one in a while.
Enter.
Nero walks through, data pad under one arm.
Argus's eyes shift over to the chronometer on the wall to see this late hour in which the communications officer arrives. And for those of you at home, you don't see Matt shaking his head disapprovingly. I say, Owen. I stand up when he comes in and offer him a seat on one of the nice, comfortable chairs. I have my that Imperial duty uniform kind of half open, and I lay back down on the bed, just kind of looking up at the ceiling, smoking, listening to what you have to say. Boots still on, for the record.
Gloves still on too?
Of course.
Of course.
I'm not ready for bed yet. I'm just thinking. I'm planning.
Nero says,
I accept.
Plotting, more like.
Plotting. Yeah.
I have a meeting soon, so I will be brief.
Mm.
When you asked about my loyalty when we first met, I told you as long as my preservation was concerned, you would have my loyalty.
August sits up.
Nero says, I still believe that is your primary concern.
You are correct.
I am meeting with the Black Jesters.
The Black Jesters.
Most likely Jazir Starfall, if he's bold, which he is.
Argus puts his cigarette out and walks over and sits in the chair next to you.
They have information regarding the rebel operative on board.
They have information. What do they gain from telling us?
I'm not sure yet.
And they wanted to make contact with you.
Yes.
I see. Well, you know about the meeting I've called in the next few hours. Here.
I do. And I know that you spoke with our former commanding officer.
Yes.
And she is from Jabuic.
She is.
He kind of lets it out, like just linger there for a minute.
You see the speech bubble just drifting in the air. ... in a comic.
She is. And it is of my opinion that our self-preservation could potentially be improved by working with her. But we'll talk about that later.
If that is the way the wind blows, sir, I would like to broker a deal with the Black Jesters.
Would you?
As you said, arrival times can slip into the wrong hands.
They can.
And I believe, while Randar is an ally,
he is.
It is important that his conscience remain at ease.
Orn, I like you every day more. I work with you.
He nods kind of slightly. It's the way I'm used to doing business, sir.
Argus leans in and takes a good look at you.
Nero kind of stares back.
Continue.
The Black Jesters.
Does he have bags under his eyes? Are you using? Are you a fucking junkie?
He hasn't got his re-up yet.
Where's my PlayStation 4, bro? Did you sell it? Where's my copper wiring? All right, bad jokes. Sorry. Addict families out there. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure what their agenda is and what they hope to gain from this meeting. I do know that in exchange for information regarding our own action plan, as we described, force intensive, that we could barter that or the absence of that for this information. In addition, as to the arrival time of a appetizing delegation.
Argus says, Yes. Tell the Black Jesters this. The power dynamics are changing in the Empire. Alliances we may not have been open to in the past, perhaps we're going to be open to in the future. And the rest you can handle.
Nero nods. Stands up. Anything else, sir?
Don't get shot.
Noted.
Dean, take a point for your bond with Nero. Untapped potential.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Randar's just a simple fighter pilot surrounded by fucking snakes everywhere.
So many.
A general has
wheels.
a general has the opportunity to look his enemies in the eyes. Fucking Maximus stuck in a world of fucking Ciceros.
Yeah.
All right. Deep down in the supply section, your footfalls land softly.
Sorry.
As you make your way through the semi-illuminated decks, largely abandoned. A couple times, crewmen pass you, and you quickly turn off and go to a completely vacated area, some basically cargo compartments, and your eyes glance up, storage bay D19.
I punch in the code 79X4B. And just before I do that, I take a pill.
Nice. You punch in the code. The door opens. You look inside. It's dark. There's only a light kind of right on the inside of the hatch. So the front end of this bay kind of has light spilling over and just shadows cast from cargo containers scattered throughout. It's half empty. And you see a small red light start blinking towards the rear of the compartment.
Can I make a, I don't know, perception check? This isn't a bomb. Right?
Make a security check.
Sure. Keep trying to roll D20.
You're better off with that handful of fucking D6s you have.
25.
Okay. You don't think it's a bomb. You think that it is something electronic that was triggered when you entered that door code.
Maybe a video device. I walk forward towards it. I just walk kind of directly towards it.
You kind of weave your way through these containers, shadows falling around you, your eyes kind of darting. You have your blaster on you?
I do.
Okay. Hand maybe drifts down, snaps the catch, and you come around. You kind of just saw the kind of reflection of the red light, and you come around and you see the red light is blinking on a container. You come up and you see it's basically an access button.
I press the button.
Press the button. Well, hiss, the container pops open, and it's about chest height, maybe 4.5 feet tall, and basically the whole lid swings up, and inside there's just kind of shelves kind of internally, and you see a device in the center, and as you open it, a small antenna pops up, and you see some sort of radio receiving device.
It's like a mini radio station packed in a cargo bin. Yep.
You see a little emblem on it of the Black Jesters. And
sick branding.
As it pops open, you hear a comm channel open. Lieutenant Orn, I think.
You have the best of me. Who am I speaking with?
Jazir Starfall. Perhaps you've heard of me?
I have.
Of course, I know you have. Well, Lieutenant Orn, is that always the name you went by in your previous days?
I do not see how that matters here.
It does not. Just perhaps we have more in common than an outsider would think watching this. Not that anyone's watching, of course. I'm glad you came. Please understand that this device, you've watched the holovids, it will self-destruct shortly after you leave.
I understand. What is it you wish to speak about?
An agreement, I think. Well, the galaxy is a messy place.
I agree.
And business, well, it's complicated. Opportunities arise and they fall. And I think maybe our opportunities could find common ground. You have a rat sniffing around your station.
We do.
Yes, they've looked for our ears, the Black Jesters. We hold some sway. Different sides speak to us.
You know what alias Piscarn has?
Of course, of course.
What do
And,
you want for the information?
well, I think we found Vierax to be a less happy hunting ground than it used to be. Those fat Kuiper cats get fatter by the day. I'm sure not every shipment is critical to Reiko Station.
I kind of let it pause for a second. I'm listening.
So what I propose is this, Lieutenant Orn. Information goes both ways, and attention is turned away at the right times. Maybe some of this information could help you in your station. Maybe some of it could help you with, well, there are other nasty groups out there, not as honorable as the Black Jesters. Maybe you find in your gun sights competitors. Or maybe even those dastardly rebels you seem to have such a hard time getting your fingers on.
I think we can arrange something, Jazir.
Good. I thought we might.
I may need something in good faith.
Oh.
Something that works for both of us.
So soon our courtship, you're asking. But what is this?
I know of an arrival.
You have my interest.
There will be ships for the taking.
You have much of my interest.
Josh, do I have I assume I probably had a list of the contingent that was coming?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I list off the ships for the Compnor arrival and the incoming commander.
Okay. Yeah, so basically it's two different groups coming in. One is Kuiper ships and one is Imperial ships.
Yep.
He kind of like...
For the record, he literally just committed treason.
He says, this will serve us both. For you, there will be less of a security presence. For us, well, you'll get to retain your relationship with us, a working relationship.
There was a pause. You kind of heard him like maybe start to speak after you mentioned the Kuiper shipment. And then when you mention the Imperial ships, there's a pause. And he says,
as you said, things are messy.
This dalliance is moving fast. Faster than I thought. Prickly little pigs, you point out to us. It will take some doing. But I think perhaps with some more specifics, we could crack open your little nut.
I can get you the specifics.
Very well. Following this will be a code. It is a one-time transmission frequency. Upon receipt, you will receive another code. This is how you speak to the jesters.
Very
It's
good.
called peer-to-peer encryption.
I would take this on good faith. In the meantime, why don't you find yourself young crewman Devron Val? I think he has outworked his security clearance.
I understand.
Well, Lieutenant Orn, it has been a pleasure. I do hope someday we can meet face to face.
Yes, Jazir. It will be good to work with you.
Yes, it will. Messy thing is war.
They are. We must look out for each other.
Yes, indeed. Goodbye for now. You hear a automated voice or robotic voice, droid voice, come on and start to list off a code.
Okay.
Grab your data pad and
Yep.
punch it in. It's long. And
I bury it somewhere in my data pad too. Like,
subfolders.
Right next to the weird
subfolders.
porn.
Yeah, right next to the Rhodian porn that I was daydreaming about when I was in a coma.
While you were high.
And the red light starts blinking
I start backing away from it.
and it just starts smoking.
Yep.
And
I take an extinguisher from like the side and put it out before any sensors are tripped off.
yeah, you wait for it to
Clear.
complete, and you're sure it's completely fried any electronics inside.
Okay. Nero just stands in the cargo bay for a minute, like his wheels turning, thinking about, his preservation in this kind of very messy web, and thinks for the most part that he's made the right call. He's pretty confident in what he's done. So, which is very similar to his previous line of work, which was trading in information. So, things feel kind of back to normal.
Well, it's as good a place as any. Ideal, the rules were made to be broken. You broke them all.
Yep.
Grab yourself a
You
character
committed
point.
the highest form of offense you can under Imperial law.
And kind of going back, this reminds me of Poro, your flaw. Bending the rules is necessary, and I think the bend word, as opposed to broken in Oran's description, is you've done a good job in showing that.
Juggling that.
So take a character point for that.
Cool.
And Dean, where do we find ourselves, and who is there for this late is the hour?
Like a pale dew clinging to winter's chin.
P.S. I don't really know exactly what voice I was using for Jazir, and good luck repeating it.
I keep it simple. PCs.
Okay.
Meaning Dr. Wilfug, Lieutenant Orn, and of course, Commander Randar.
Okay. Just the four of you and
Just the four
you
of
in
us.
your quarters.
I kind of
Sexual.
feel like I have Cass's loyalty. But I'm nervous about it. We need the muscle. Cass.
Okay.
Bold move, Cotton.
Captain Cass is there as well. He maybe is the last to arrive. Maybe you actually did spend a few moments extra consideration
Sure.
before you sent him a communique.
You up? So,
Beep, boop.
Beep, bop, boop.
I walk over and open the door myself.
Cass is standing there. He looks alert.
Have a seat.
He looks around the room, kind of takes in the personnel present.
Nero's leaning up against the wall.
He takes a couple steps just inside the door.
We Caesar him. Just kidding. Shut the door.
Nero no longer has his blaster on him.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, we're still at ready.
Yeah.
We're in a state of war.
Standing
Okay,
orders
he
from
still does.
Captain Cass says, he looks around. Not one to look nervous, but you can tell he's heightened.
Of course.
He says, doesn't look like a regular department meeting.
You are correct about that, Captain. I brought you all here because we have some things to consider. As you know, we were visited by our former commander, Azilla. She came here. That was her on the Dark Star. We all had a chance to work with her. We know that she was difficult, but fair, and she cared about us. Well, we're also aware of the Arif sector. We're aware that they're trying to requisition our equipment and send a new commanding officer here. We also know who runs the Arif sector and what he thinks of this backwater assignment, and the delay in getting any types of supplies here for us. I don't really like to say this explicitly because it's not my style, but I think everyone in this room knows that I try to make decisions that preserve us here as compatriots working together for some time. Because of the excellence of your leadership, we've never lost a man. That's not going to go on forever. We're going to lose some. And the more the imperial command structure descends into chaos, the higher that reality gets. Arif is coming here to deprive us in the midst of a war, to send in a new commander, which, if it was Azilla, I would gladly step aside. I'm not saying I'm not going to follow orders, but I'm also saying we've got another set of orders, potentially.
Cass says, Jebuik, sir?
Yes, Cass. Admiral Rorvat is a true leader of men. Rorvat is somebody who has, that's true, right?
Yes.
He's been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rorvat is someone who has always put himself and those under his charge first, and he's always done what he can to be an effective leader. And he does not care about the flapping banners. He does not care about the execution of rebel pilots. He doesn't care about Compnor and their messages. He cares about actionable items and boots on the ground and men working together to keep us safe in this insane galaxy we find ourselves in. And Azilla has made us an offer. She made me directly an offer. She said,
Which I ought to accept.
she chose us, I say, not me, because of what we've been able to do here. She wants to commission me to commander. She wants me to keep my officer structure intact. She wants me to get some supplies, and she wants me to stay right where I am, continuing the work that we find ourselves doing here, not to come in, not to be replaced, not to have Compnor breathing down our throats, and not to have a complete change of orders with, and I quote, a counterinsurgency action against New Kaleri, which means any headway we've made with these people will be destroyed from orbit the second Arif Sector Command gets their wishes. So, I was presented with an opportunity. Take the charge. Stay in charge. Keep each one of you in the places where you are. And that is that. Of course, I wanted to accept on the spot. But I am in a podcast and trying to do what's right from a story perspective. And reconsidered so I could have this cool role-playing opportunity thinking the required 60-minute episode. So, here we find ourselves, gentlemen.
Randar says, of course they'll have to supply us. If we take their offer, we will be on the front line. That counterinsurgency, that orbital bombardment may still happen from Arif Sector.
Indeed.
Do you think they would invest so heavily in this place? They're coming here for parts.
Indeed. Arif, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
If it is a matter of benign neglect, that they simply aren't able to get what they want here. Maybe we're too far away from the core worlds for them to really even pursue us.
Owen, you make a great point. We are parts to them. That's what we are. That's what we've always been. However, let's just say the ideology of Rorvat has always been one of preservation of resources and not wanton, wasteful acts like Chamfers is known for.
Nero.
Who do we want to bow our head to, gentlemen? Rorvat or Chamfers?
We want to bow our head to order. What the Empire has stood for all these years, bringing order to the galaxy.
A fine job we're doing.
For now.
Sir, if I may ask, how would that affect our relationship with Kuiper?
We're free to continue to run operations here the way we wish. If Kuiper wants to continue to get their security, they will do business with us. If they don't, we will take from them. Of course, we want to maintain a good relationship with them. It's been mutually beneficial. I hope to keep it that way. Kuiper is not interested in Imperial High Command or the ERC. They're interested in protection of their profits.
Sir, I would like to remind you, they do take orders from the ERC. They are directly linked, sir.
Nero's nodding his head as well.
I see.
My monitoring has come to a close.
And?
The last reports I had, they are continuing to back the ERC.
I see. So, if you are a corporate officer and we decide that we're going to be loyal to Rorvat, do you think that that Kuiper corporate headquarters is going to tell them to pull up and leave?
It depends on the value of their mining operations.
Chamfers may even use it as an excuse to launch attacks into this sector. Maybe his own personal grievance against us if we don't allow him his escort, his personal escort. That could be as petty as that. But he could use it as a easy excuse to launch attacks.
Against us?
To release the Kuiper Corp from our grip, from this coup attempt, Victor. I look over to him.
Is it a coup if an admiral is offering me a commission?
Yes. Rander says very bluntly. If that admiral is going against the wishes of the ruling body of the Empire, then yes, Victor. Let's not mince words about what we're talking about here. Not dance around it.
The ERC does not exist, Randar. They're gone. So who are we reporting to?
What do you mean they're gone?
They've countless admirals and moffs and governors have been killed. All of them. Vader, the vaulted emperor, they're dead. It's a bunch of admirals out there, all vying for power.
The ERC has shown its hand. They only care about the core worlds.
Correct. And some are more competent than others. I choose competence.
Cass kind of speaks in a moment of quiet, and he says, I'm not going to pretend that this isn't an incredibly difficult decision, or that my mind is made up in one way or another.
Nor is mine.
He looks down, he says, I've only worn this uniform for 4 years. I spent my career with the Andrusian Light Infantry, planetary. I was offered this position, and I took service in the Empire. I didn't take service to a symbol or to an emperor, but to the ideals I thought it represented. As far as ideals, well, that's pretty clear. Chamfers, what I've heard about Ostesh is a hammer. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It will put us in a much greater degree of danger. It's an opportunity, and it's a choice. I haven't really been renowned for avoiding a dangerous choice. And you can probably all speak better to it than I am. Not much of one for politicking, but there might be others aboard the station who would question a decision even more. Not just Kuiper.
One small detail left out. Rorvat sees no need for Comp nor its agents. Not right now. safe to assume that our friend Thorn would be reassigned.
That's
I think this is the most evil thing you said the entire campaign.
Wow.
That's an interesting way of putting murdered.
Who the fuck said murder? some I murder.
I believe it was your squeaky glove that said murder.
Okay.
Well,
So we go with this plan.
I'm not sure. I'm not done talking about it.
What do we do with the incoming CO, the Kuiper security, the Comp North squads?
Our replacements?
They won't be turned away with our declaration. If anything, they'll be sent in to mop us up, to send us for arrest, put us in the brig, and send us to trial for treason.
Yes. I look over at Orn.
He's looking back at you.
Declaration, you say? It's an interesting way to put it.
Maybe we can negotiate. Let them come.
Fucking stakes.
Cass turns to Argus and says, "Sir, has Commander Azilla said anything about support, reinforcements?"
She did?
I wasn't exactly looking forward to Comp Force or Kuiper security, but the reality is we're shorthanded as it is.
Yes.
And now we have the prospect of increasing those who might view us as an enemy.
Here's one thing to consider. What does Rorvat have to gain from our loyalty? Why would he reach out to this backwater world? Why? We have no reach beyond this system.
But it's another system in his cap, so to speak. Additionally, he may know more about the Kaleri technology than we know.
He may. I also know that his command ideology is one that he wants to preserve the forces he can because he understands the way this war is going. He's not a wasteful man. He does not want to waste his resources. Rorvat is not stupid. He knows that if we accept that it puts us in danger, why would he do that just to have us destroyed utterly?
Vierax is a backwater not just because of its location, because of how it's been treated. Reiko has the potential to be a valuable frontline resupply point. The system is full of resources.
Indeed.
Sure, Kuiper is not even scratching the surface of it.
Yes. Which means his interest is in keeping it safe, isn't it? Why pull us into the fold just to be careless with us?
Its importance is noted on both sides. The rebels are interested in it, as is the Admiral.
Indeed. And you know who is not? Chamfers. Not one single solitary bit. I do not ask meek men to come into this room. Chamfers types. I ask for strong men, and that's why we're all sitting here. And we can meekly live here while they pick us apart and take the flesh from our bones. Or we can take fate into our own hands and be useful with the backing of competent, strong leadership. And yes, it's dangerous and scary, and perhaps we'll all get arrested. Or perhaps we'll just sit here and grow old and die as they pluck us away one by one. I say we vote on this. There's an odd number of us here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You can't cast too.
GM gets a vote.
Yeah.
I, for one, say we go with Rorvat. If you do not want to, if you are uncomfortable with that decision, I respect it. If you want to take a vessel and report to Arif, I understand. I'm not going to hold anyone hostage. I'm not going to do that. If you guys decide that you want to stick with Arif, I understand and I will accept. But I'm not going to make this decision alone. Not this one. So.
Rander kind of leans forward and says,
What say you, Doctor?
You see Gaius take a deep breath in, holds it for a good second, 2 new orders, sir.
Jabuik, then.
Yes.
Good. And I'll have you all know that, well, I don't say that. I'd keep my mouth shut, actually.
Our version of a New Hope, New Order.
Orn.
Jabuik.
Randar, like, he was leaning forward already, and then puts his hands on his knees and gets up, walks over to your personal bar, pours himself a drink.
Nice.
Swishes around, turns. If we can make the transition without harming those inbound, Jabuik. He takes a swig.
Nero rolls around the idea of us not harming anyone inbound.
Legal,
Think about some legal
plausible
terminology.
deniability.
You never signed an order about the camps. Cass kind of takes a breath. He reaches into his one of the pockets on his duty uniform. You see him take out like a coin. He tosses it down the table. It clangs and clatters. You see it's a coin from his old outfit. And as it settles to a stop, he reads the logo imprinted on it. He who dares wins. Jabuik.
Well, I suppose now would be a bad time to cast my vote for Arif, wouldn't it? Very well. I will try to secure something. Obviously, this conversation does not leave this room. Cass, understand that Orn's going to be a problem. Do what you must. Dismissed.
Cass walks over and grabs a drink, pours a splash, hammers it down,
Yeah.
puts it down. Gentlemen,
See you on the other side.
he turns and leaves.
Okay.
Yeah, Randar just puts the glass down and leaves.
I'll take a drink too.
Same.
All right.
The snake's going to snake it up in the fucking Argus's room.
Now let's talk about what to do with Randall.
Down to
Making it up.
You hear a rattle.
As
Snake done.
Sorting Hat says, Slytherin! Commander Argus, Slytherin! Lieutenant Orn, Slytherin!
Cass just lays down on his stomach and squirms out of the room.
so they're all at the bar drinking?
I mean, you're in his private quarters.
Yep.
And
It's not a bar. It's just
Yeah,
a tiny
sure.
little table.
But Cass took his drink and he left.
Before he does that, like when they go over to the bar, Nero's like about to leave and just like he's at the door and he turns and he says, I have the information regarding the rebel spy. I'll forward it to your data pad, Cass. And he walks out.
Damn.
Very well. There'll be plenty of tactics to discuss before we make this move. Sure.
Yep. I don't know what I've gotten us into.
He nods and
I
exits.
have no idea who is going to agree or disagree with this. So,
Quick cut back to Commander Azilla. Are you alone with her? Is your
Yeah.
XO with you or just you?
no.
I think we're alone.
No, I'm not going to disrespect Randar. I'll bring him.
Okay.
It's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chaperone.
Unless she's wearing thigh highs. What are you telling me? No kidding. All right. I go. I of course bring him.
Okay. You're in another private room. And she
On her
says,
shuttle.
Sure. The troopers are outside. So it's just the three of you in there. She says, well, gentlemen,
Commander, the potential for this place becoming a battleground is high. I want to understand that if I accept this commission, that you are going to do everything you can to keep us supplied and not stripped away. You know the struggles here. You, I trust, but I also understand that you take orders. And that is a small concern of mine. Because I do trust Rorvat. I do think he's a good man. I do think he's a good leader. I need some assurances here to make this easily digestible by a crew who may not necessarily want to. I can assure you some senior staff are on board with this idea.
Admiral Rorvat's priorities are to bring Reiko 72 Alpha and the Vierax system up to its full potential. I have requested to remain with the SS Darkstar in support of the Vierax system. I cannot say it will be exclusively here, but we will be in the patrol area. And we will not be alone.
How do you suppose that we delay this arrival of resupply contingents and a new commander that's coming from the Arif sector?
If you ask me as a fellow service member, I can try to give you any input I would, tactically or in any other fashion. But in an official capacity, Admiral Rorvat is very clear. We will do our best at this time to not be seen to be confronting or usurping any other current or former Imperial forces.
Very well. And should this not go the way we expect it to when we all find ourselves upon the High Court, let it be known that these men were following my orders.
Commander, we will have your backs.
Very well. I'm trusting you on this, Commander. I reach across the table and shake her hand. And I say, we accept.
Understood. She reaches into her pocket, takes out, pins the commander insignia on your on your collar. I wish everyone could have seen that.
Yes, you.
Josh,
And, and she grabs or takes the letter from you, holding it, and she, please, Victor, raise your right hand.
I do.
She reads, and you take the oath of office. When you finish, she salutes.
To protect and serve the Empire at all costs. I accept.
You salute, and she reaches out, shake your hand.
I shake her hand.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Empire. I think you'll have a busy week, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, man.
So about that coordinate ambush.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Nastagram. We hope you're enjoying Empire's End. You know the deal. We're going to ask you to spread the word, tell a friend, post about it online, do whatever you can, ratings, review, everything helps. And get involved. Got a great community over at Facebook at the Nastagram RPG Lounge, or just pop over onto the website, nastagrampod.com, links to all our socials, and bonus content and more coming soon. Our intro music, as always, is by a Wilhelm Scream. Scores this arc are from both Adrian von Ziegler and Antti Marttikainen. We'll be back with another episode next week. Why don't you bring a friend?
That's nasty.